All right. Welcome back. Let's bring this up. 3, 2, 1, and rock and roll. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Turn the volume on. Let's have a look.
We had something special. Up and down, make up your mind. Oh, we on different levels. Looking back at all the time we spent.
You see, in the art of mixing, it is very, very, very important to take off your jackets. This has philosophical meaning behind, well, sure. Kind of lost my train of thought there. Anyway, I thought that was funny. Alright, moving aside. Let's get the show on the road, man. Okay, now we had that part over with. When you're starting out as a DJ, or when you're starting looking at sort of the frame of mixing, what you'll do is, people will say, just focus on playing one song and then mixing another one. Fantastic. Focus on the groove, etc. And as you progress, what you'll find is that you start mixing a little bit sooner, or you might take the chorus of one and then, instead of waiting for the second chorus, you might mix it in the verse, and that becomes sort of the next stage. As you progress, you start shortening down those gaps, and instead of doing it over 16 or 32 bars, you start doing it in 8 bars, and you start creating these sort of quick changes, or you might start the track that's coming in sooner than you normally would, and that's great. And you get comfortable mixing the music that you play, but it's very easy to get comfortable, because the learning curve, I feel, for DJing there isn't a huge learning curve compared to other aspects of music. It's relatively sort of straightforward, and being very, very successful DJs who just mix from one song to the next. But if you're watching this, we're taking we're stepping aside, we're stepping away from what DJing is, and we're really pushing it to the level where you're not comfortable anymore. So you're individual who's constantly wanting to push themselves forwards creatively and professionally in the world of DJing, in mixing. And some creators of electronic music don't really don't do that. They just go up there and play one song to the next. And from my perspective, that's okay, because they're the ones that have created the music and they can play it any way they choose to play it. That doesn't mean you can't have your own opinion about what you think is the better approach. But at the end of the day, the person who created the music can play the music any way they choose. It's the same token with me. The way I create my music is a way that it's a certain way. There is a certain way that I want to perform that music, and that way is by pushing myself as a performer, as a mixer, as a DJ, and every time I do, I want to try and create the best possible live experience that we can. Now that's like super long. Whatever. But the key that I wanted to say that what I'm getting at is that you can get to a certain point where you're comfortable being at the level you are as a DJ, as a creator, etc. It's gonna take your own will to push yourself to the next level. And when you are looking at like something like this, you are you are someone who is wanting to not do this, the standard transitions. You're looking at changing things up, and constantly pushing things forward to find creative ways of creating different transitions and different ways of mixing and performing the music that you play. Okay, so let's break this down. So playing the song, obviously, adding in some really quick sort of cut effects, and we're stopping the song, and we're using that sort of violin break to do that, and we're stopping it. As we stop it, we're adding in effects. Now, not necessarily for them to be heard just yet. We're just adding them in, and we're still sort of having a bit of fun with the modular. And we stop, then we play it again. Now, playing the track again, but now we've added in the effects. Okay, and we continue playing with the modular. Now we stop. Let's go back. Stop. Add the effects and play. Okay, now watch. Here we go. One. Then we stop. And we bring in the next one. So we've stopped, added the effects in. We'll continue playing with the modular effects. Just to keep the blend, keep it sort of interesting. There's a slight gap, which you can use to your advantage. So you see, like, we add effects in, slight pause, and then it's like, what the hell just happened? And this is why I mentioned that, little bit in the beginning. Let me just double check. Cool. And this is why I mentioned what I just said before, is that to do something like this, you need to be able to constantly be pushing yourself to get to not be comfortable. And instead of doing a standard sort of transition, you're doing something where you're manipulating the groove. You're creating this sort of break where it gets people's attention. You're purposely creating a pause, and that automatically adds a different dimensionality to the whole thing. And then the audience listens, and then you keep going. Nothing. I was like, okay, what was that? And they think the song's ended. Now you play it, the effects are now in. We pause it, play with effects, then we play the other one. So played it, paused it, and then with that vinyl break, you can really manipulate it so everything glues in really well. Then again, you're connecting it with a cue point that you know works well. If you connect it with something that doesn't have some sort of a tail or a quick sort of sweep up or something like that, it just goes into everybody, it's not gonna work as well. So one more time. So I know that the reverb in these situations often works the best because in a lot of transitions there's usually the common reverb or delay or echo of some sort, and you can manipulate that and cut creatively with that. Next, you'll notice that when we're playing this, it's very much the beginning of a new piece and there's not much going on. So we've done all this, but then we're putting a lot of weight on this on this one. We're putting a lot of weight on this new track without very little going on. So people are going to pay very, very close attention to this. And that's fine because we've sort of done all this and now we're allowing a little bit of a pause. We've done all this and now it's okay. Now let's take a bit of a breather. So this is why again you need your song selection here, picking the right mood, understanding how is this going to incorporate. You've added just a break, you've added all this other stuff. Okay, now we're adding this one. It's gonna be super exposed. So now what we're doing is just slowly adding in doubles, adding in different effects just to create a little more intrigue, a little more tension because everyone's paying attention to it. Like I mentioned in the previous episode, you're looking at the screen, you're looking at the waveform, and if you know the key moments in the piece, you know that okay, there's going to be like there's going to be like a cool sound effect there. You can manipulate with the filter and build up to that effect. But work with the effects, work with the music with the effects. Don't just press the effects for whatever. Work with the music and the effects together. They so seamlessly connect, they seamlessly work together harmoniously. I knew I should have taken this gum out, I completely forgot. Now, caution. You'll notice here how it's almost breaking apart. The mix is almost breaking apart because there isn't much going on. So you have to be another sort of careful moment here when you are creating this sort of much more complex transition that you will have to judge when it's the appropriate time to add effects in. You have to find a way to be creative about it when you are just giving a track bare bones like this. From my perspective, now there's an anticipation building up. Now we've sort of gotten past that crescendo, and now it's almost like a movie, it's trying to live up to the expectations, massive, hype being built up around it. Again, this is another, I guess, caution. When you're doing something like this, you better deliver when, this transition or drop, whatever you want to call it, comes in. It better be good. So as this is building in, I know I have time to bring in the next track that I want to work in. So checking the cue points, checking with the headphones. Cool, we're adding in what we need to. Might take up the low end, adding in effects level ones. Awesome. We're building. The reason for me this works, but it is because the drop isn't completely different, and it's almost a continuation. It's not even like a standard drop. It happens, but then it just keeps rising and rising, rising. So it's like, oh, okay, we're still going. We're still going. We're still going. We're still going. See how much tension this is creating? And all we've done is added in effects every so often, and then we're adding in more effects when the drop comes in. We're just playing around with the music, and just allowing it just to naturally build, build. Okay, so imagine, let me just and stop, cool. Let's just have that awesome little sort of, your recording has finished, thank you very much, message coming up. There we go. I mentioned this before, but creating your mix as a movie. So you have this sort of big awesome opening sequence, and then it sort of builds, and then it sort of plateaus, and then it sort of goes down, sinking down, and you sort of and you're creating that story, and then things unfold, and then it slowly starts to ramp back up. And this is one of those moments. So we're sort of going past that. We're sort of now slowly going down, creating that story. We're just stretching out the pasta, if you will. We're just creating the connections. We're allowing things to settle down a little bit. Now, a lot of things have happened, so we're just letting things settle down a little bit, and we're almost starting fresh. We're almost starting, from the beginning. We're starting the next chapter. Okay, now let's let things build up again, up. Let's create, a bit of a transition here. Let's keep building. Okay, cool. Now we transition, and then we continue building, and then you build everything up. So that's why these sort of really key sort of transition moments are really important, but you need to find the right pieces of music to go with that. Once again, it's about just willing to continue to constantly pursue getting better at mixing. It's very easy to become stagnant in where you are, and be like, that's it, because the curve of learning to sort of mix and DJ isn't very high. You can relatively do it quickly, but then to do something like this requires a lot more time, a lot more patience, and just repetition, and understanding how to put things together, to really start creating something unique for yourself in your music. It is a fun sort of approach to doing sort of these transitions. And as always, I encourage you to give it a crack. Play around with, you know, stopping, playing certain tracks, you know, switching between two tracks. That will sort of be, you know, the approach. You know, once you sort of understood how to sort of mix two pieces together, you know, you're cutting down the amount of time you need to mix songs in. Cool. You're learning sort of how to mix fast. Fantastic. The natural progression is from me, and the way I've sort of gone in there is changing the tempos of the songs, working with different tempos, different genres, and then you from that you start understanding, okay, this genre works with this one, this works with that one. Okay, these are the sort of, you know, verses that of different songs that work well together. You start understanding different types of melodies, different tempos that you can work with, and how to sort of create this big energy at the beginning and slowly start dropping down and creating this, you know, story that you want to tell through the different genres, through the tempo changes, through the manipulation of the different transitions and cuts and fades and effects you put in, and then you can really start molding, creating your own unique mix. Okay, this has been another episode of the Art of Mixing Breakdown. I'll catch you on the next one. All right, see ya.